The Rip City Drive.
Good friend and someone that we love to talk golf with. And I can't think of a time I've been more excited to talk with him than today. We're talking about our PGA Pro and our golf insider, David Coleman, who is back. So, Dave, tell us, for you, as a pro yourself, what was it like to watch Michael Block, a fellow club pro out there, finishing top 15 with a hole-in-one at the PGA?
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. It was super emotional, man. Probably the most emotional I'd ever. I was, watching the golf tournament. It was just one of those things where it was just crazy. How much emotion there was watching that event. Considering he was playing, with Rory and Justin Rose on the weekend, and it was insane. I mean, to think of that kind of event and the magnitude of it for a club pro. Obviously this guy's got an unbelievable record as a player, but nowhere near what these guys on the tour have. And I mean, distance-wise, he's nowhere near a guy like a Rory or a Koepka. And the fact that he hung in there and played as good as he did, that up and down on 18, even the up and down on 17 was unbelievable. I mean, this guy played his heart out, and he deserves the sponsor invites he got the next 2 out of the next 3 weeks, Colonial and up in Canada. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see where his game goes from here.
David, how hard is it for a club pro with all the lessons that you guys give and all the responsibilities you have to your club? How hard is it to maintain your game at that kind of level?
Oh my God, it's next to impossible. I mean, you're comparing it to a tour player. I mean, it's almost impossible. I mean, it would be. I don't even know if there's a comparison in any other sport, really, because you would maybe say. I don't even know if this is fair. You'd say maybe a guy that is like. Maybe in the XFL or maybe bottom tier Canadian League or something like that. Maybe, going up against the best players in the NFL. I mean, the only thing maybe that's close is the Kurt Warner story. But even that, I mean, it's hard to compare it to. And yeah, it's crazy all the responsibilities you have day in and day out as a club pro, dealing with running tournaments, merchandising, club repair. If you have a club repair set up there at your course, giving lessons, junior golf. All these different things that a tour pro's life is playing and staying physically fit to try to play his best week in and week out on the tour. It's two different careers.
We're talking with David Coleman, PGA Dave, here on the Rip City Drive. So you mentioned his future. He gets the top 15 finish. We know he'll be a part of the PGA Championship next year, but with the exemptions, how do you see this playing out for him? I mean, what's his future?
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think the next couple tournaments he's in, the Colonial this week and then the Canadian Open, are really going to tell where he's at. I know Colonial is going to set up pretty good for him because it's a shorter golf course and not a course where you have to be a bomber to win there. So I think he's definitely got a chance to compete there and do well. The Canadian Open, the week before and he's trying out for the U.S. Open as well too. He's into the sectional round of U.S. Open qualifying. So, yeah, I mean, I think this guy at 46, I mean, I feel like that's kind of the, guys in their 40s, that's kind of like gravy at the end of their so-called regular tour career, because obviously at that age you're looking more towards the Champions Tour. It's just, it's really hard to say, where he could be at. But I think the next couple of weeks are going to really find out what kind of player he is. Was this a one-hit wonder, or is this a guy that maybe can compete and play against the best in the world?
Dave, we had some questions about the Champions Tour. First of all, how would he do on that? But second of all, I don't really know about the qualification process to get on that tour. Is there a tournament for that or a school, or how do you do the Champions Tour?
Oh, yeah, there is. It's gotten really competitive, Dwight. I mean, there's a qualifying school. I think to qualify automatically coming off the regular PGA Tour, I think you have to win at least 4 tournaments, and then you have automatic status for a while out there on the Champions Tour. But if you're a guy like him or a lesser-known guy from the club pro route or one of the smaller tours like a Stephen Alker, who we've seen has done really well out there the last couple of years, you have to go through a qualifying school, and it's really tough to get out there. I think last year I heard there were only 5 fully exempt cards to play out there, so at that level, it's really competitive, and with Tiger coming up there in a few years, it's going to get even more popular. I think it's crazy to say that to get out there might be one of the toughest tours in the world, just because of how competitive it is. And at that age, with technology and the way guys are staying more physically fit, it's tougher than ever.
Hey, Dave, Brooks Koepka got his 5th major. What was your takeaway from his game this weekend?
Yeah, he played awesome, Chad. There's no doubt about it. I think the biggest difference with him on Sunday was he was a lot more aggressive the entire day than he was, at Augusta on Sunday when Rahm beat him. That was the difference. It didn't look like he was just trying to shoot even par 1 under. It looked like he said, I'm going to go out. I'm going to be aggressive right off the bat. I'm going to try to make birdies. His wedge play was phenomenal all week. And I think Koepka is a guy that, just thrives on the big moments in the majors. I think playing the LIV Tour has reinvigorated him. I think it's helped him out a lot because he's playing with his brother, who I think he's given him a shot to really compete at a high level. And I think this is a real opportunity for Koepka now to say, hey, you know what? I only play so many times a year. I'm so focused on the 4 majors. I'm going to that's all I care about. So I think that's why he took the money from LIV. And I think he knows now that he can really lock in those weeks of the majors. And he's just, the way he's wired and the way he's built physically, if he's healthy, he can really be a force in these majors for many years.
Dave, we were talking about that before the show, and we kind of thought that playing the LIV Tour is an advantage for him almost because he plays shorter tournaments, not as many tournaments, maybe more time to practice if he needs it, but not a lot of pressure on the tournaments he does play. All of this allowing him to be fresher for the majors. Do you think it's going to be to his advantage?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, I think there's no doubt. I think he's definitely going to be a guy that can do a lot better in the majors because, let's be honest, he never really cared that much about the regular tour events when he was on the PGA Tour. So I think there's no doubt I think he took the money because I think, one, his health was a big question. But I think now, the fact of the matter is he's just going to go out and just play golf in those events. And I think the weeks leading up to the majors, you're going to see the LIV will set up their courses somewhat like the majors. And then I think, he's going to go into a major and he's got so much confidence and he's got a great track record in these tournaments that I think he knows he's going to play well because of his mental state. And then I think you're right. Physically, he's going to be more refreshed.
We're talking with PGA Pro David Coleman here on the Rip City Drive. And one thing I came across, Jason Day elected to rest instead of get a practice round in before the PGA Championship. And I just wanted to know, is that crazy? Is that the norm? Because it would seem to me that you'd want to get out there on the course just to get a feel for everything with the greens and the putting and the different things you're going to face on each shot. Even though the yardage books are very complete, it would seem to me you'd want to be out there and get a feel.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me, Chad. I mean, he played great last week in Dallas, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, in Dallas, winning there. Obviously, coming from the Byron Nelson at Craig Ranch, where it was pretty much a shootout and a birdie fest. To go to Oak Hill, your mindset has to be totally different. You have to change everything. So to me, I maybe could see maybe Monday getting up there, maybe just walking the course, but you definitely got to get out there and get in some game atmosphere. Understand, the elements, understand you're going to be hitting from different lies, different grass, different sand. Just everything is so different. And I think that was a mistake by Jason Day. I get his body is not in, perfect shape. He's had a lot of injuries over the years, but for a major, you only get so many opportunities at a major in your career. There's no doubt I would have played, a practice round, at least 1, maybe 2, and just been out there. If you did 9 holes each day, just to get a feel for it and just to get an idea of what the atmosphere is really like there.
Okay, Dave, I know you spent part of your career in New York, and I'm curious if you've played that course before, and people talk about how tough it was, and several holes where you could hear guys complaining about it, and they've changed it around a lot, they've changed holes a lot. What personal experience might you have had there, and what did you think from watching on television how hard it was?
Yeah, it's a really difficult course. So to kind of give the listeners and you guys some insight into it, there's 2 courses there. There's a west and an east course when they have normal member play, when they're not a big tournament there. And so the range and the practice area is is on the west course, and the east course is the championship course. The West is a really strong course in its own right, but the East is really a beast of a golf course. They changed a few holes around on the front. They definitely changed a couple holes around on the back, too. It's just one of those golf courses where they added a lot of runoffs and chipping areas around the greens, and they just made it so difficult where if you missed the greens, you really had a difficult shot. Like 15 was a good example that, you saw there were some really tough spots where you really had to play a flop shot with a lot of spin, and we saw Rory do that a couple times. And, yeah, it's just such a difficult golf course because a hole like 7, you can't even hit a driver, and it's 460 back into the wind because it goes due north. So it's Sticks, obviously, is a new hole there. That used to be kind of where the old 5th hole was. I mean, that hole everybody struggled on. I mean, DeChambeau, Koepka, these guys who absolutely mashed it off the tee even had a hard time with it. So, yeah, it was a really difficult hole. It played very hard, and I think the course, I don't know about if they'll go back there because of the weather, but I think it's definitely a course that they could have something at in the future, whether it's a FedEx Cup event. I know they're having a U.S. Amateur there in 5 years, so that's going to be an interesting litmus test with these young college kids who bomb it, so to see how they play on that course.
Hey, Dave, do you think Brooks will be a part of the Ryder Cup team?
Yeah, you got to put him on it. Why not? I mean, he's won a major. Absolutely, he should be.
All right, there you go. PGA Dave, David Coleman here on the Rip City Drive. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. We love talking golf with you, and I'm just so glad you had a chance to enjoy that scene that we saw yesterday. That was awesome.
It was, Chad. It was something we never thought we'd see. Koepka might have won the tournament, but Michael Block won the hearts of Americans, and it was a very emotional event, and it was great to watch, man. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Dave. We'll catch up soon, buddy. I appreciate you.
Sounds good, man. Yep.